Visited a Nix school in Austria also. I don't know if Nix is still working at international school in Austria, Africa, maybe. Well, a lot to talk about with Luis, that's for sure. But anyways, did I put my microphone back on? I did. You'll have to excuse my voice. It's just coming back. I've had a week and a half of this on and off voice with allergies here. Temperature is literally yesterday was like in the 80s, and tomorrow it's going back to the 40s. And so it's just been like really crazy up and down weather here in Argentina. So as we head into the spring, but it's just kind of winter doesn't want to let up. So it affects my allergies. So I'm sorry. We're introducing ourselves. Is that what I gather, Paul? We're starting from scratch for the video? Okay.
Yeah,
my name's Claudia Zimmerman and my husband's Kyle Zimmerman. We've been in Argentina, Buenos Aires for 14, going on 15 years. We work with a non-denominational organization called Global Outreach International, but we serve in a evangelical Presbyterian church here in Argentina, which is called La Misión. La Misión has the vision to spread the gospel to the entire city, building bridges, transforming culture through the gospel. So we meet in 5 different locations, 5 different congregations that bring economic and social reconciliation to the country or to the city, because like many of you know, sometimes you don't cross the tracks. That happens everywhere. And so we serve in 2 main locations, and Kyle, I would say, serves in a third, mostly. La Misión Flores is in the south side of the city. It's the poorest part of the city. That's where the church began. So it's kind of a cool concept because it's actually the underprivileged socioeconomic class planting in the higher economic class. And our pastor was told that couldn't be done, and it's been done. So it's kind of a cool model. And here in Argentina, the reason it worked is because it's a church that puts feet to their message. So for the college age and business people and young adults in the upper area of the city, which has been unreached for many years, it's seeing the gospel preached and lived out. So it really has been cool to see in these last 10 years, especially since La Misión Palermo, which is in the higher social economic class, unchurched, we would say, area. So we work in La Misión Flores, La Misión Palermo, and Kyle teaches carpentry as vocational and occupation options to help in the poverty in the province of Buenos Aires, which is about an hour outside of the city, at La Misión Merlo. So we're in those 3 locations, and then there's 2 others that meet in different sites in different hours. So busy doing many different things, from discipleship to small groups. Like I said, Kyle teaches carpentry and vocational skills in the impoverished area in Merlo, working with women and children as well. So it's kind of a variety of ministry that we do here in Argentina. And now we haven't had one in a while because of pandemic, but we have a mission trip coming up in October, which we're excited about, and we head that up, and it's a lot of work, but it's cool, and it's good to have it. Speaking of mission trip, and so that's one of the big prayer requests right now, and I'm sure many of you have seen the news, but a friend of ours in Memphis was kidnapped and killed this week. She had come on a mission trip with her husband, and so we're all hurting for that, and hurting for our friends in Memphis and the church in Memphis. And last night they had a shooter in Memphis. So as the church was praying for this, they were in lockdown as a shooter was driving in front of the church. So just our hearts are kind of like, Lord, what's happening in Memphis? So kind of hard to write the church, and we're 3 weeks out of, and they need to come on the mission trip, and we're talking about safety and where they're going to stay in Buenos Aires, and I'm thinking it's not any different than Memphis right now. So just pray for the Fletchers. Richie is the husband, and they have 2 little boys, 4 and 7. Liza was kidnapped running early in the morning. She's a marathon runner. So she trained and was taken by SUV, and her body was found on Monday. So
that hit the national news.
It hit.
Of course, it was in the EPC news because she was an EPC person. Yeah. It's
crazy. It's in the news here in Argentina too. Yeah. It's just kind of a very odd thing. So anyway, personally has really rocked my own prayers for safety and that whole struggle of, Lord, this evil world, and the hope. But I know what Satan intended for evil, he will use. And it's a heavy time for Second Pres. And so we're praying for the pastor there and the message of reconciliation they have as they work really hard in Memphis with racial reconciliation. So you can imagine this is rough. So that's really what's on our hearts right now. And looking forward to receiving them here, and as we pray and partner together as sister churches. On another note, Kyle's venturing into this new project in Merlo. They are creating an outdoor space for the carpentry classes, and has been very one of those how did you get yourself into this experience? Recycling old telephone poles to trying to use different tools to create this outdoor space. And it's just very entertaining because the Argentines are like, this gringo just doesn't get it. So it's really fun working with Paraguayans and Bolivians that build with hands, and mix the cement. And, Kyle's like, where's the tool for that? So it's been very entertaining. And so he's exhausted. And this week the beams are up. And so now they have to do the cross beams. And so anyways, we'll see how it goes. So we're praying for that. I told them to film it on a time lapse so we could show it quickly on some social media. So we'll see if that works. So that's on Kyle's prayer request, that no one gets hurt and it gets done. And he has patience, from the recycled telephone poles that came with nails and cables, and to having to plane that down by hand has been to different types of things that haven't worked. So that's a prayer request. I have a very busy teaching schedule this semester, just because we're short-staffed at the church because of some of the situations that you guys have heard us pray for. The elders are rotating to preach, minus Kyle. Kyle has said, I'm not preaching. So for now, he's safe. But that's affected some of the Bible teaching and small group leadership. So that has pushed us up. So I asked for prayer for that, because my schedule between meeting and discipling and preparing classes, it's just been a lot on our plate. So, but we're here to work. So I say that, so get to work. And lastly, we're preparing our furlough, which is always a Rubik's Cube, just like, where do you start? Where do you land? Where do you go? And added with a college student and wanting to spend time with him, and where to meet with him, and do we trek him along while we're in furlough and then flying back to school. So just pray all those logistics work out, figuring out places to go, stay, cars, things like that. So we
that's need October and November, right? And yet you have the mission trip in October. So you got back to back.
Yeah, we'd be flying to the States December is what we're looking at. Oh. So we'd be in the States late December to mid-February. maybe March. We'll see. We'll see when the girls start school here in Argentina. So lots to talk about. Argentina, there was an attempt on the vice president. Someone tried to shoot her. It's ridiculous. It's just been crazy political unrest. It's classic Argentine unrest. We're thankful she wasn't shot, but can pray for that. And the kids front, our son is back in college, sophomore year, trying to figure life out, just trying to get a license, hoping that works. And our girls are just dealing with the reality that life is changing. The youngest can see the writing on the wall that her sister is starting to look at college and she's going to end up here alone. So just a lot of family change. I understand what Luis is going through, and different people understand that transition. So that's about it in a nutshell. I'm sure I could go on and on, but definitely keep those things in prayer for us.